Recently, there's been a lot of speculation as to what's going to happen with the Silicon Valley housing market post-coronavirus and post-shelter-in-place. But what's happening in the Silicon Valley housing market right now? That's what's coming up today on the Silicon Valley Snapshot. This is Danny Gould with the Selling Silicon Valley Group. Welcome everyone to another very special shelter-in-place edition of the Silicon Valley Snapshot for the third week here in April of 2020. Lots to cover today. Before we get into anything, if you're a home seller in today's environment and you're wondering how coronavirus is going to impact you and your values home, and your home's value rather, not your values home, go ahead and text the number down below. Text analysis to the number down below. That's analysis to the number down below for a unique perspective on your unique situation. So, anyways, guys, we're in the thick of it. We're in the thick of shelter in place. And what's interesting is if you've been watching these videos for any period of time, especially these last couple weeks, I've basically spelled out a doomsday scenario for the Silicon Valley housing market. And of course, all of this is developing in real time. And so when we look towards the future, it can get really easy to get caught up in the what ifs. But I want to give you guys a different perspective, and I want to give a huge shout out to my friends out at Trend Graphics, which is a data compiling service here in that provides real estate data here in Silicon Valley. And they provided these new graphs, these brand new data that has never been seen before, which is a month-to-date perspective, which is basically up until today, which is the 21st of April. How is the market shaping up in terms of for sale, sold, and pendings? And that kind of data is invaluable in this kind of environment because we're measuring day by day, and we want to see what's going on in the marketplace and comparing it to what we were accustomed to seeing, say, last year, right? And so I find this data to be extremely fascinating. We haven't had access to this type of data, and so I'm really excited to share it with you. And let's get started right here. You see the charts up there. And what this is measuring is in all of Santa Clara County, active or single-family homes and condos and townhomes in the Santa Clara County, all three sectors combined, or both sectors rather, single-family, condo, townhome combined. You'll see that between the first of the month through today, there are 701 units for sale, which is down 61% year over year. When you compare it to last year, we had 1,807 units. So it's no secret, it's no surprise, inventory is down. If you watched the video last week or the week before, I gave you a breakdown, however, of how pendings are trailing off even worse, or were trailing off in Santa Clara County, even not worse, but at a more accelerated pace than for sale inventory, right? Meaning that there was even less demand than there was supply, which obviously, if you know basic economic theory, that's not a good thing for Silicon Valley real estate. However, if you look at the pending sales right now, we're at 62% down year over year, from 365 units to 970. Guys, that's basically the same ratio, right? And so what I want you guys to understand is that despite the fact that inventory is down and demand is down, they're down at a practically identical rate. And so what you can expect is that the environment in which we're in is practically the same. And any real estate agent that is watching this video who is a current active and is doing a lot of business here in Silicon Valley real estate can attest that despite the fact that things are slower, the environment and the environment that we're in is very similar to that to which we experienced last year. Wow, I'm getting tongue-tied here, but bear with me. I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, the environment is very similar right now to that which we experienced, there we go, last year in April of 2019. And when we break this down further, though, into the single-family sector and the condo and townhome sector, it's a tale of two sectors. You could see the single-family sector, to nobody's surprise, is holding up a little bit better than the condo and the townhome sector. When you see the graph, you'll notice that there's a 61% change year over year, negative 61% change year over year, month to date. in the for sale side of things for the single family sector, and a 58% drop off in terms of pendings year over year, which is in direct contrast to the condo and townhome sector. That if you're a condo or a townhome home seller that is thinking about selling their home in the next 6 months, pay attention to this, because the drop off is significantly more. We're looking at a 61% change still in for sale inventory, but pending sales down 71% year over year. So if you're looking at this data and the single family sector is holding up strong, should be no surprise. But condo and townhome owners, the demand is starting to slip, right? That's what our data is showing here. And it's something to pay attention to, because now that we have this information, this kind of this month-to-date data, we're going to continue to share that as things progress. But pay attention to that, because as the weeks and the months go by, we'll notice if that trend starts to, or if that delta, rather, that difference, that delta starts to increase, or if it stays the same, or if it decreases, both in the condo townhome sector as well as the single family sector. But definitely very interesting statistics to pay attention to. And what does this mean, right? What does this mean right now? Well, what we're seeing in the Silicon Valley marketplace in general is definitely a major slowdown, right? This is a shock to the system. But just a few weeks ago, we were looking at pending data that significantly trailed the inventory. In terms of acceleration downward, or it was accelerating. The downward trajectory was accelerating at a much faster rate for pending sales. Now things seem to have evened off, right? So what does that mean? Well, another thing to keep in mind, right, is if you watched my previous videos and you saw the video, particularly where I talked about loan products, a lot of lenders pulling out, investors pulling out of the marketplace, which has put a huge strain on the mortgage industry, because right now there are definitely less buyers out there, because there are less buyers that are able to qualify. When you look at the non-QM products, right, the non-QM products that have been pulled, a significant amount of Silicon Valley home buyers were using non-QM products to qualify to purchase. And that's not just in the sketchier parts of town. We're talking about jumbo products, large loans that were being given to people that didn't fit the cookie cutter criteria. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've seen who are, serial entrepreneurs who cannot qualify for a loan through a regular Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, but they used a non-QM product to buy multi-million-dollar houses. We're talking $4, $5, $6, $7 million houses plus, right? And so what you need to understand is that this is affecting all sectors of the market. Yes, it's going to affect the lower sectors most. However, it's going to affect all sectors in some way, shape, or form. Or when I say sector, I mean quartiles, right? Like when we look at the market, the top quartile is the top 25% of houses in terms of price, right? And subsequently downward. What I wanted to share with you is the San Mateo data. And we often look at San Mateo, but not as often as Santa Clara County. What you're going to see here is exactly what I'm telling you right now, and why this could matter for not just San Mateo homeowners, but also Santa Clara County homeowners and South County owners in particular in the not so distant future. So you see that same month-to-date data. We have 318 for sale versus 608 last year. That's down 47% year over year. Pending sales are down 55% year over year. So that's for all units, single family, all residential units, single family, condo and townhome in San Mateo. And so there's a little bit more of a discrepancy there, where there's the drop off in pendings is greater, not significantly, but definitely greater than the single family sector, right? Than the for sale, the number of for sale, right? So if that trend continues to, if that delta continues to widen, and we see demand begin to wane in comparison to the for sale inventory, we're going to start to see a shift in the dynamic of the market. We've already seen a shift, right? But we're going to continue to see that shift, and it's going to skew more in buyers' favor. Don't get me wrong. We are still absolutely, absolutely, per any sort of economic standard in a seller's market, there is far less than 3 months of inventory in any segment of the market right now when you compare it to relative and absolute demand, right? Now, could that change? Absolutely. And that's something that we need to see. That remains to be seen, right? What's going to give first? Is demand going to increase first after shelter in place, or is supply going to increase first? I have made arguments as to why either could happen, and I think there's arguments to be made for both. Will they both decrease? Will they both increase in tandem? These are things that are going to play themselves out, and we cannot say with any degree of certainty what is going to happen. But what you can absolutely count on is that we will continue to bring you the most relevant, up-to-date information and data to keep you on top of what's going on in the Silicon Valley housing market, because it's important. It is important for you as a home buyer or seller in today's marketplace to understand the implications of this data on your particular situation. And of course, everyone's situation is unique. So if you are thinking about buying or selling a home right now, you can text the number down below. You can text help to the number down below, and one of my team members, or actually probably myself and my team members, will get on a call with you and discuss your particular situation to make sure that you understand how all of this is going to impact you and your family. This is Danny Gould, everyone, with the Selling Silicon Valley Group, and I look forward to seeing all of you on the next Silicon Valley Snapshot.